about our Quasar podcast, The Quantum Zone?
What about our Quasar podcast? Wendell Vaughn, the first Earthman ever appointed Protector of the Universe. Bonded to the energy-transforming quantum bands that are both weapons and symbols of his station, he fights an ongoing battle to defend all life in the universe from cosmic evil as Quasar.
That's right, kids. I know it's a little late, but yes, here we are, another episode of The Quantum Zone.
You've stepped into a time warp.
Time warp. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, master of the Quantum Zone. It is.
I will. Hey, everyone.
And Matt Conan was supposed to join us, but he is under the weather. So, as Will and I were just talking, maybe like a few times a year, maybe we'll try to do a Quantum Zone here and there. So, yes, hopefully we'll be able to get Matt Conan back here next time. So, all you fans of the Quantum Zone, write in to say you want more Quantum Zone, Ray. All right.
Demand it. Enough said. Sorry.
Ray's our highest paying patron, so yes, he does have some power. Scary.
This was for you, Ray.
I know. All right, so I know we were talking a little bit about the Quantum Leap on before we jumped on, so I figured, Quantum Leap, Quantum Zone, let's do this. But yeah, so the season finale happened. Spoilers, kids, if you don't want to be spoiled. But yeah, this will hit, well, again, it's going to hit Patreon first, and then it'll be another week or two before it hits the podcast, so that should be plenty of time. But because no one's watching right now. All right, but my whole problem is like the government was trying to shut them down. It's like, oh, they pulled the old, well, have we tried killing them yet? And it's
kill them all.
And they're just, and it's just like, you're going to create a paradox and destroy the universe, right? Because it's like Ben has already leapt. If you stop him from leaping, then where does this leaper come from? Who, it's like you've already had a leaper, but if you destroy the accelerator, no one can leap. But
then the leaper leapt, so then he didn't leap.
Sounds like a paradox.
And then they didn't.
Sounds like a paradox to me.
Me too. Indeed. But that was a really good episode. I mean, I really enjoyed that show. So I'll be happy to see it come back for a second season.
Yes, in the fall, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, it's like, who? I wonder, do you think they wrote that ending where it's like they don't know who's leaping in? They're like, well, if we can't get Bakula, that will be Bakula, but otherwise, no.
We don't know. Otherwise, we'll figure something else out because, well, I mean, they even, and I haven't got to this point, they even brought Bakula back to his present for a little bit.
Yes.
And he had to switch places with Al.
Did you watch that one fight? Did you watch that one?
I haven't had that,
okay.
but I do remember that episode.
Yeah.
So, if he does come back, there's going to be something that makes him leap or, something, because that's the show. He's the one that leaps and, Addison's there to be his hologram. So,
I have two leapers. It's a team of two leapers.
Yeah. So, it was funny. We were watching the episode, and Mike was walking through. He goes, "Yeah, we should come up with a secret password that only we know in case we encounter a time travel situation or a Groundhog Day situation. So that if somebody tells us that passphrase, we know that they've talked to us at some point differently in the future." And I went, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I already have my phrase, and Alex has his phrase too." And I went, "Never been so proud of my sons as I have right now."
I was going to say I've had mine loaded for years, so yeah, I have. Yes, it's basically a phrase and a number, and yes, if I give it, yes. Someone comes back and gives me that, I'm like, "Oh, you are from the future."
Cool. Oh crap! That means something bad happens, probably.
Although, have you ever sat there in your home and be like, "Okay, well, if I ever get a hold of time travel, I will come back to this moment," and nothing happens.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn. Does that mean I never get to handle time travel?
Time. Yeah. The jokes keep coming.
What joke? So, anything else? Oh, are you caught up on Picard?
Yes. I thought the latest episode was probably the weakest one. I mean, it was still good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as strong as the sixth that it was at the 7th episode or 6th episode?
It might have been the 6th before that, but then might have been the 7th.
This might have been the 7th.
I remember but I know my problem was like, where's Breaker? Where's Troy? I'm just like, we ended on that cliffhanger. Where are they at?
Yeah, this one just didn't feel as
okay. Yes, last week
well done.
Yeah, last week was 7. So
yeah, it just didn't feel as good as the first 6 episodes. I mean, it was still good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but it just felt a little bit weaker in comparison to the others. And part of it was their plan to let her on the ship and then decide to kill her, and then wait. She planned to not be killed because Laura was going to go nuts. I mean, it just
let's let her overhear us talking about killing her. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Unless it was just a setup.
So do you think Jack is like a sleeper agent where he's like a changeling, but he doesn't remember he's a changeling?
I don't think so, because he's got mind control powers or mental telepathy thingies going on.
Yeah,
right?
He's something.
He is something, but. I mean, I don't know. It's still great. I mean, it's awesome.
Oh yeah,
I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It seems like there was just a little bit of dip, in quality, and maybe because it was so focused on plot.
Mm-hmm. But
I don't know.
And again, I keep screaming, I want more Voyager actors. It's like we got fake Tuvok.
Yeah, you got a fake Tuvok.
Nice. I was like, is that real Tuvok? Yeah, it's like.
Nope, not real Tuvok.
But there was something wrong with those ears. It was like different prosthetics or something, because they looked like they were like, I swear they were pointing out too far than like they used to. Unless that's the first thing to sag on aging Vulcans.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's been a really good show.
Oh yeah.
And there's just 3 episodes left, right?
Mm-hmm. 8, 9, 10, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! So yeah, this is the last season of Picard. We need some other callback show. Like I said, do some big ass adventure where you bring in like whoever's left of the actors from Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
Yep, and then you've got Discovery's going to be ending, with its 5th season, so that's coming up, and then we're going to get,
Well, again, give Todd Stashwick a Star Trek show.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love Discovery. It's a really good show. But, oh my god, I love Strange New Worlds so freaking much.
Oh yeah, that's
awesome.
That seems to be the consensus. Yeah, I know. Even Lilith was like, oh, Strange New Worlds is coming back. I'm like, I know.
Oh, by the way, I did not log into Facebook in the last few days, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
Belated birthday.
Thank you. If you're an observant person, you may notice some new acquisitions around the room here.
I do see some differences. Yes.
There are like 4 like Hall of Iron Man armors over there. There's a Megatron Funko on top of Prime there. There's an Archangel Funko. There's a Steve Rogers as Nomad Funko over there.
Wow.
I found that. I'm like, when do you see a Nomad Funko? I'm like, I'm getting that. Lil's like, I knew. Lil's like, of course. That big one in the box up on the bookcase up there is Elektra's Daredevil. It's one of those ones where it looks like the comic in the back. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Nice.
Yep.
Happy birthday, man. Sounds like
Thank you.
A good one.
Oh yeah. I even my wife and son bought me. I haven't put it together yet. I got another Lego project. It's It's Mjolnir.
Nice.
Yes. So you're gonna see a big ass Mjolnir up there at some point once I get it put together, probably this weekend.
I'm just worried though. Once you get it put together, will you be able to lift it?
That's true. Maybe I better put it. Maybe I better put it. Maybe I better build it wherever I want to stick it. Because
Exactly. Yeah.
You ever see that meme where it's like you see Mjolnir like holding like the toilet lid down and Spider-Man's standing there like he has to go and it's like that jerk.
Thor's a jerk.
All right. Well, again, should we get to these issues?
Let's get to these. These are great issues.
Yeah, these aren't Guy Gardner's. So come on.
Yeah. Call out to the Sector 2814 podcast.
That's right. Yes, the Green Lantern podcast. Yes, which you guys should be listening to. Ray, I know you're listening to this. You need to listen to our Green Lantern podcast. especially in a few weeks here. Once we get the return of Hal Jordan and Will's literally gonna pee himself where he's sitting.
I'm gonna be so excited.
All right, I do think I do have synopses for these. At least I know the first one I do. But all right, so we're not gonna be set up here because yes, we are talking Fantastic Four number 520 from January 2005. Rising Storm Part 1 by a writer, a friend of the show who we've spoken to a few times, Mr. Mark Wade.
Hi, this is Mark Wade, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Penciler Mike Waringo, God rest his soul.
Unfortunately, we lost him much too young, but Ringo's an awesome artist.
Exactly. I loved it. I like this. He's good here. His Spider-Man stuff I loved. Yeah.
Flash.
Oh, yeah. Flash. Yeah. He worked with Wade there, too. Yeah. Inker Carl Kessel, colorist Paul Mounts, letterer Randy Gentile, and editor Tom Brevoort. And again, this is weird because it's like a part 1 of this arc, but it's like they kind of pick up in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because previously the Reed had to switch Johnny and Sue's powers. Mm-hmm. So Johnny has her invisibility powers and Sue has his flame powers. So it's all confused. And then we're pick up right in the middle, literally as they're falling to their death.
Exactly. Oh, get the title too, Rising Storm.
Yeah.
In a desperate gamble to save Sue's life, Reed used the device to swap her powers with Johnny's. However, this resulted in Galactus making Johnny his herald to utilize these invisibility powers to decloak hidden worlds. When the Fantastic Four attempt to stop Johnny's abduction, Galactus easily departs, leaving the Fantastic Four falling from the roof of their Baxter Building headquarters. With Ben at the most risk, Reed orders Sue to use her new flame powers to save him, but her lack of control over these abilities causes her to singe the Thing's arm in the process of grabbing him, forcing him to pull free and take his chances with landing on his own. Thankfully, the impact was only minor. Recounting what happened, Reed tells Sue to calm down and that they are going to do everything they can to save Johnny from Galactus. Reed hopes they can accomplish this before Johnny is forced to bring Galactus to a populated world to consume or wear out his patience.
Which one's going to come first?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good plot where it's Johnny, as Galactus' herald. Impossibly far away, Johnny is already complaining about the situation he finds himself in. His demands to know about the bathroom and food situation go ignored by Galactus. Oh my god, I could just see Galactus. No more Millennial Heralds. Deciding to figure things out for his own, Johnny finds using Sue's powers incredibly easy. As he marvels over the various technological devices in Galactus' ship, an alarm suddenly sounds, and Johnny soon finds himself ejected out into space. He is confronted by a warrior calling himself Kargan, the Unforgiving, who has come to destroy Galactus before he can feast upon Kargan's world. Back on Earth, Sue is finding Johnny's powers increasingly difficult to control. Taking a shower, she finds that she finds it difficult to shut off the flame. This makes her realize how much pressure Johnny has been under all these years. This causes her to think back to when they were younger and Sue looked after Johnny on her own. She recalls one day she was harping on him to control himself, only to be touched when he made a sandwich and flowers for Mother's Day. I love that he's like playing with the basketball and knocks it over and goes, sorry!
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Reed's lab, Ben and Reed are preparing for their trip into space to recover the Human Torch. Going back to his room, Ben arrives just as his answering machine clicks on and Alicia Masters leaves a message. Ben manages to get the phone before she hangs up and the two talk about Johnny's abduction. They get to talking and Ben thinks back to when he first started dating Alicia Masters and how it was Johnny who convinced Ben to man up and kiss her for the first time. The Thing lets Alicia go when Mr. Fantastic tells him their help has arrived. The three members of the Fantastic Four go to the roof where they are met by the greatest hero ever, Quasar.
That is correct, sir.
Agreeing to help them find Galactus, Quasar encases the team in a quantum sphere and carries them off into space. It's there It's there that Johnny is still fending off Kargan, who will not relent in his attack. Getting fed up, Johnny unleashes his powers, splitting the layers of Kargan's body. Horrified by what he's done, Johnny is surprised when he is able to reform his attacker. Johnny then brings the completely emasculated warrior back to his world and realizes that his new powers have also been boosted by the power cosmic, leaving Johnny to wonder what he has become. Alright, notes. Sue had to raise Johnny on her own because her mother died in a car accident and her father was in jail, as explained in Fantastic Four 32. Ben flashback was back when he and Alicia Masters first started dating between Fantastic Four 9 and 10. The pair dated until Fantastic Four 265. I wonder what happened there.
Excuse me.
Elijah. Oh, did you see the trailer for Secret Invasion?
I have not watched that yet.
Oh, yeah, Nick Fury's putting the coat back on, buddy.
Okay, I gotta have to watch that.
Oh
I did see the Blue Beetle one. The Blue Beetle one looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, I cannot. We know what they need. It's not in the trailer, but they need him just once to say, "I get these mother effing Skrulls off this mother effing planet." But yes, Alicia was replaced by a Skrull, Elijah, who, under the guise of Alicia, married Johnny for a while.
Yeah.
Which was finally revealed in 358. So man, that went on was like what, 90 some issues they were like, yeah. All right, the most important one, the Thing and Mr. Fantastic mentioned how Quasar used to rent out an office in their headquarters in his civilian guise of Wendell Vaughn. Quasar ran business from the Four Freedoms Plaza from Quasar 3 through 60. I love how Mark Waid remembered that, because Mark Waid is a master comic historian, but it's like, but then it got me sad. I'm like, wait a minute. At first I was like, wait a minute. So the business doesn't exist anymore unless it relocated. Because again, Four Freedoms Plaza is no more. So
yeah, but it was a nice nod to the continuity that, you could pay us back rent, I'm like, that's cool. I know what he's talking about. I get that.
I get that reference. But I mean, and I don't know where it would show up, but I'm just like, I would love to know what happened, where are Ken? Where's the business? Because I mean, Wendell pretty much isn't on, never on Earth anymore. Well, as far as we know.
And Kayla's with the new universe Earth around the Stranger's World, right?
Does that even still exist? Because it's like the Star brand was in the Avengers book, but it wasn't with Kayla or anybody. It was like a new character. Then
it was like the Star brand of this universe, not of the new universe. I don't know.
I know, and it's like there's like no mention of the new universe, because it's like, I don't know, after what is that, 2015 Secret Invasion? I'm like, did we wipe new universe out, or? Because I don't think Kayla's been seen or heard from since the Quasar series. So
yeah. So if we talk about the last several issues of Quasar, we have to bring up a certain crossover.
Oh, Star Blast! Yes, yes.
I mean, do we have to? I don't know. Do we have to?
They aren't even attempting to enter our orifices.
Okay.
That crossover kind of did, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think we had chatted about this like before Sector 2814. When was the last time that we saw Wendell talking to Epoch, right? Or when was the last time Epoch appeared? We know she appeared when Gravity was the protector of the universe for like an issue, right? In the Fantastic Four, where the Black Panther put a chokehold on the Silver Surfer, which makes 0 sense. But
exactly. I mean, again, it's like one's like, we've got limited appearances by Wendell in the last couple of years, so it's like
last couple of decades, unfortunately.
Yes. So it's like I don't know if there's not time for Epoch or it's so weird.
Well, and there's some great hanging plot threads out there, because we have Era from the Guardians of the Galaxy timeline, who is an evil version of Epoch, and we have, which is really old, but we also have what's going on with Wendell now. He supposedly changes places with Avril at this point. We don't know why or how that happened or what's going on there, and that seems like that's been dropped as well, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, any current. I mean, I think there's one or two. I don't know if they're miniseries coming out closer to the when Guardians 3 comes out. They're going to do Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, but yeah, as far as I know, there's not going to be any Quasar in there. So, we never really explained how they're, why or how they're swapping. Even.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I talked to Al Ewing once. I might have to try to get a hold of him again and be like, "Can you come on and tell us how were you going to explain that?
Or is it ever going to be explained? Are you no longer on the book? What's going on?"
Had the book kept going, how would you have explained that?
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, I mean, it was nice to see. Just shout out to the original Quasar series and
yes.
His supporting cast and his setup at the time, which I thought was really cool.
Exactly, yeah. And again, I would love to know where that, what happened to the business. And like you said, there's so many dangling plot threads that can be picked up. Hell, we need a new Quasar book, and we've said it before. You can use it to explore, corners of the Marvel Universe we haven't really delved into in many years. And Marvel.
Exactly.
And Marvel, I am the business manager of an up-and-coming comic book writer who I know could handle the Quasar book and who I could whisper in his ear and point him in several directions. So
might even be willing to talk to Capes and Lunatics on occasion.
Yes, exactly.
Weekly. Well, what there's
oh my God, we have to make that happen. Then it's like when if Lilith gives me crap for doing a weekly Quantum Zone again, I'll be like, "We have the writer of the book. If it comes out once a month, we have to do at least monthly Quantum Zones. We have the writer of the book."
That would be awesome. But one of the things that I love is that, Ben Grimm and Wendell go back, way back, to Project Pegasus.
Yes.
They've been friends a long time. And one of my favorite scenes with the Thing is, Quasar's handed off Eon's heart to him, and he's sitting there with it behind his back.
Oh, yes.
In Cosmos and Collision. It was like, that's awesome,
Old poker buddies, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So should we get to the part 2?
You bet.
All right. So Fantastic Four 521 Rising Storm Part 2, February 2005. Looks like same team here. After swapping powers with his sister, Johnny Storm was forced to become a Herald of Galactus so that he could use his invisibility powers to decloak invisible planets. The Fantastic Four have enlisted the aid of Quasar to locate Galactus and bring him back to Earth. Along the way, Sue worries that her brother may become as emotionless as the Silver Surfer when they first met him years earlier. However, the Thing thinks about how Johnny would likely use his new powers as a Herald of Galactus to basically joyride across the universe. Meanwhile, in the Brahm Nebula, the people of that world are gripped in fear that Galactus approaches them. However, the lead scientist assures his leader that Galactus cannot detect them thanks to the sophisticated cloaking device that protects their planet, unaware that Johnny is watching them invisibly. When Johnny accidentally alerts them to his presence, he tries to talk to them but is attacked immediately. Johnny asks that they tell him that he has no wish to have Galactus consume a populated world. The leader of the planet suggests that he direct his master to a nearby world, trying to convince Johnny that the inhabitants of that world are evil. However, his newfound power cosmic allows Johnny to see through their lies and leaves in frustration over the fact that even aliens are as cutthroat as humans can be on Earth. Still, Johnny tries another planet. He finds that world inhabited and hostile as they try to launch nuclear weapons at him. Johnny uses his powers to disarm them. From world to world, Johnny goes, but cannot find a suitable planet for Galactus to eat that is devoid of sentient life. I think that's this issue, because I read them all at once. They kind of blend together. I think this is the issue where he's like, yeah, Johnny's like, can you guys direct me to a planet that's lush but there's no population, and the guy's like, the statistics of how rare that is, a planet that can sustain life but doesn't have life. He is like,
yeah.
When Johnny thinks he has found a planet devoid of life, he is disheartened to find that small intelligent insects live on that world. Before Johnny can continue his search, Galactus teleports him back aboard the ship. When Johnny tries to convince Galactus not to consume the world below them, he is blasted for his trouble. Johnny continues to protest, not willing to become a murderer, no matter the importance. Galactus reveals his true form to Johnny, making him see that Galactus is an important part of the universe. Johnny understands, but points out that Galactus used to be human once, calling him Galen, his former name. This causes Galactus to pause and demand that Johnny explain himself. See, oh yeah, and of course Fantastic Four met Galactus and Silver Surfer for the first time in Fantastic Four 48 through 50.
Yep.
And it was revealed in Silver Surfer #1, the Surfer became numb to his own humanity when he was first transformed into a Herald of Galactus. Johnny mentions how he is aware that Galactus merely appears human to his senses, as his true form would destroy his mind. The Fantastic Four first learned this in the origin of Galactus back in Fantastic Four 262. Okay.
Was that the trial of Reed Richards? I think maybe.
I think so. Yeah. Because he had saved Galactus's life at one point. Yeah, Was it the Shi'ar? Somebody put him on trial and just like, how can you save this guy? That guy back there.
Yeah, that guy.
But yeah, I'm like, I get the whole point, but I'm just like, if it's down to like a planet of insects, I'm like, can't we kind of let that one slide?
They're intelligent insects.
I guess, yes. Oh, damn, they can talk. Okay, can't see them. But no,
it's really cool the way Wade has. He basically takes the invisibility power, almost up to a metaphorical level. To be able to see things that are hidden, to see anything that is hidden.
Well,
see something as it truly is.
Because now it's entangled with the power cosmic. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that was interesting. But I just see all the. I mean, again, Waringo, great artist, but like then I see the pages with Quasar, and I'm like, man, why couldn't they have restarted a Quasar book with like Waringo drawing it and stuff at this point? Do you think they? Awesome. I mean, I think I've asked you this before, but I mean, do you think maybe the Quasar has? I don't want to say suffered, but we were robbed of what we could have gotten with Wendell if. Not for the untimely passing of Mark Grunwald, because he was really the champion for this character.
He really was. I mean, it was really, for all intents and purposes, his character, even though he didn't write the first.
He didn't create it. Yeah,
Marvel Man. Yeah,
that's a dumb name.
Yeah, it's Marvel Boy, right? I mean, Roy Thomas. Was it Roy Thomas?
What was that? Was that Hulk issue? That's that kid. That's a dumb name.
That's a dumb name. Yeah. Okay, I'm Quasar now. That's a cool name. All right, whatever. Yeah, and then he's kind of fallen by the wayside. He was used as a sacrificial lamb in Annihilation. Killed by Annihilus. Spoilers for a 15-year-old story at this point, but and it was fans that ultimately convinced Marvel to bring him back. So that was good, and then he came back in the Nova series. And it was really that the relationship between him and Richard Rider in Nova during the Abnett and Lanning Nova series all the way through Annihilation Earthfall, which was kind of their ending after Guardians and the Thanos Imperative and all those things. That was kind of the last we saw of him like in a regular book at all. And then strangely he showed up in the Nazi Cap as an old dude with no longer having the quantum bands on, so it was
yeah.
I don't know, and then it's just been hit or miss. I mean, he did show up in I think Silver Surfer Black.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a big role. Yeah, like in the very beginning. Yeah,
and then he showed up in Guardians, and he somehow quantum entangled with Avril, and they swapped places like the old Rick Jones Captain Marvel. So. At this point, we don't really know what's going on, if anything. There was a bright spot. We got to see him as the Star Knight when Kurt Busiek and George Perez relaunched Avengers, and Cap was able to break through to some of the Avengers. It was the people that being an Avenger meant the most to them, and that was Hawkeye, of course, and Cap and Wendell, and the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, and I'm trying to think who else. I can't. It's been a while since I've read that story, but other than that, there's not been a whole lot of appearance. I mean, he's sometimes in some group scenes, in the background. I think if you look at the Deadpool marriage cover that has so many freaking characters on it, he's on there. And I think I sent you a link that he's going to be on a Fantastic Four cover.
Yes, up. I think it's 700 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But
be nice if he showed up there.
Yeah, sure would.
But yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think our only chance of getting a Quasar miniseries or ongoing is if the character shows up in the MCU.
I'm afraid you may be correct. I feel like that's the tail wagging the dog, but we've got so many characters that were important to the Quasar supporting cast. We've got her, or Kismet, extremely important character. We've got let's see, Makari showed up in the Eternals. Now, granted, it's a different Makari, but a lot of characters that were in and out of Quasar.
We're kind of altering the characters because, like you said, Makari, different now because, of course, in the movie. But it's I guess I think our friend Ron Mars is coming out with a mini series, an Adam Warlock thing, and it's there's gonna be a female version, but it's not gonna be her or Kismet or whatever. So it's just are we just kind of shipping these characters off the limbo? These versions of the characters off the limbo, or?
They'll eventually come back around. I mean, I've always been surprised, when talking to other creators, other writers particularly, how many of them are oh yeah, I've got a Quasar pitch because I loved that series. It was just so amazing. I'd love to write a Quasar series. Of course, I'm not. I would love to as well, but part of the thing, and this may be me reading more into stuff than I should or not, but I feel like when Quesada took over, he had a really strong preference for street level stuff.
Yes.
Earth-based street level.
All the Marvel Knights, yeah.
Yeah, and Marvel Cosmic just kind of got left out in the cold. And, Wendell's definitely a part of Marvel Cosmic. And then, with Annihilation, he was then killed and replaced ultimately, and then finally came back, but
so now you're saying this. I mean, it's just an unfortunate chain of events because it's first Mark Grunwald passes away, then you're getting the bankruptcy, so they're shrinking the line down anyway. So there's not going to be a ton of books, that aren't Spider-Man or X-Men or Avengers. And then, like you said, Quesada had a preference for the street level. It seems so all Marvel Cosmic pretty much got
withered away at that point. I think it was around that time that the long-running Silver Surfer series was canceled. And then it was kind of the last holdout. I think Doctor Strange had kind of veered more toward horror at that point, instead of being, this cosmic trippy stuff like it was in the early, Ditko days. It would be nice to see him again in a regular series. And look how great it was in these 4 issues, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's I know it's more energy-based powers, but I mean, you could just the personality. I mean, you could paint Wendell as kind of an analogy for Superman almost. I mean, a cross between Superman and Green Lantern. It's come on, let's show DC how it's done.
Yeah, and it's really, I always found it interesting too, during the Star Master series, which was immediately after, the cancellation of the regular series. The Rigelian, Tana, I cannot remember her name. She was in the Star Masters. Yeah, exactly. They were captured or something, and she reveals that Wendell has the strongest will power of, that includes the Silver Surfer, Beta Ray Bill, and everybody else on the team. And I always thought that was interesting. It's never really was kind of dealt with. But I'd tell you this: I still have in my my secret hope that one day we will see Wendell hop into the DC universe and then a ring and weird stuff starts happening. I mean, it would just be an awesome crossover.
Oh yeah.
Because in Hal, Wendell would see test pilot that died right before he got the bands, right? I mean, that's Hal
Yeah.
in the Marvel Universe, and it didn't work, right? So he has similar powers, and, they're based on, willpower. The personalities are completely different. Wendell is all about responsibility, and, he's a Boy Scout. He looks up to Cap still, and, Hal is a little bit, cocky at times.
You know what?
Not that he doesn't earn it, but
Yeah. I think you're at a point. Wendell's the guy, because I've always said, I'm like, they want to boost some sales, do an experiment, swap characters for a year, drop somebody from the Marvel universe in the DC universe, and vice versa. And it's like they're not going to drop Spider-Man in the DC universe for a year. That's not going to happen. They're not doing anything with Wendell right now. Do it with Quasar.
Yeah, and then have somebody they're not doing anything with on the DC side. And just, think of seeing the DC universe brand new through someone's eyes from the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the heck is going on? You stopped a supernova with your ring? Gotta get me one of those.
Oh my God, Wendell versus Darkseid?
Yeah. Everybody's got to fight Darkseid at some point,
exactly, right? Yes. Now my brain's just exploding. I'm like, well, who can he meet? What's this going to be like? A speed force, you say?
What is that? I can't detect that. Wait a minute. You look like a guy I knew. His name was Buried Alien. Wait, it's you. Wendell, buddy, pal.
Since there's probably no quantum zone in the DC universe, what if he can juice up off the speed force?
Yeah. Or, the emotional spectrum.
And again, it's like, he's already there, and he wrote him good here. Let Mark Waid tackle Quasar in the DC universe for a year.
Mm-hmm. It would just be nice to see the character again having, seeing the character regularly doing things,
Again, explore stuff in the Marvel universe we haven't seen in a while. Introduce, some of these things to the people who may have not been reading comics, 10, 20, 30
80s,
years ago. Yeah.
And I think we're kind of waiting.
Have him answer the mysteries of how many counter Earths are there? Where are they at?
Or explore the and then you've got the multiverse,
mm-hmm.
and I've always wanted to see that era plot from the Guardian, the year 3000 Guardians of the Galaxy picked up. I think that would really be interesting. But it's all right. We should get back to the Fantastic Four.
All right. So yes. All right. We're halfway through. Let's get to part 3. Fantastic Four 522. Rising Storm Part 3 from March 2005. Same team. With his powers swapped with his sister, Johnny Storm was forcibly made a heroine of Galactus. Yeah, we know this. Along the way, Johnny attempts to appear to Galactus by trying to see if there is any humanity left in him. Johnny recounts how Galactus was once a mere mortal named Galen from the planet Ta. 2 A's, kids. T-A-A. A world that was in its death throes during the collapse of the previous universe. Johnny talks about Galen and a brave crew flew through space toward a collapsing star even as their universe began to collapse, unwilling to succumb while the mysteries of the universe still remain unanswered. Johnny draws parallels, I thought this was interesting, to Galen's final flight to the flight that birthed the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny then recalls how the sentience of the universe saved Galen and transformed him into a being of great power that will be a fundamental foundation of the new universe. Eons later, Galen was reborn in a new universe and then went into a gestation for centuries before he emerged as Galactus. Johnny finishes his tale by pouring out that after 5 billion years, Galactus has lost touch with his humanity. I don't want to say you're old. When Johnny suggests that Galactus explore this side of himself, he lashes out at Johnny. Suddenly, he is rescued by the rest of the Fantastic Four and their ally, Quasar.
Hey!
While Quasar fends off Galactus, Johnny is reunited with his friends. With his power cosmic, Johnny is able to see into the fundamental essence of his teammates and is completely blown away by the embodiments they see there. However, before he can communicate this, Quasar is blasted back by Galactus. With Galactus about to consume the planet below them, Johnny tells them to stall Galactus. While Sue, Ben, and Quasar damage the equipment Galactus needs to consume the Earth, Johnny devises a device that will channel the power cosmic given to Johnny back into Galactus, while Quasar uses his quantum bands to create the ion converter they need. In the meantime, Galactus lands his ship on the planet's surface. However, before Galactus can consume the planet, Johnny channels all his power cosmic into the ion cannon, which in turn fires upon Galactus. Suddenly, Galactus' armor collapses to the ground and Johnny is restored to normal. As the Fantastic Four recover from the battle, they are shocked when Galen emerges from the empty armor of Galactus. Johnny recaps the origin of Galactus as it was originally told in Thor 169 and Supervillain Classics number 1. It is further expanded upon in Ultimates Volume 3 number 2.
So the thing I liked is that, Quasar's there and he's just like, hey, this is another day at the office. I'm fighting Galactus. Whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, oh my God, this is the end of the world, panic. It's just like, okay, I got a job to do. Let's get it done.
Oh, this is interesting. I never read this. Johnny mentions how Galactus has lost touch with his former humanity. This is not entirely true, as Galactus was briefly reverted back to Galen once previously, as seen in Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Comics magazine 10 through 12. However, at the end of that story, Reed erased everyone's memories of the events with the Cosmic Cube. As such, Johnny would not recall these past events.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's been done before. And again, if that's not Galactus' true form, just as humanity sees him, should empty armor be falling to the planet?
Yeah,
I guess
his essence is inside the armor. Yeah.
Him casting off the cosmic power, our puny human brains just see it as armor falling to the ground, I guess. But
yeah, I thought this was a really good. I mean, this whole little 4-issue arc is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And,
oh yeah, it's Mark Waid.
Yeah. And I think he does a really good Quasar. And like I said, Ringo's art is awesome, and he does an awesome Quasar as well.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. I would have been here in 2005 in a heartbeat if this team, they're like, they're just going to do a Quasar.
Okay, yeah, sign me up. I'll take 2.
Although I would pretty much give anyone a chance if they're like, I'm going to do a Quasar. I mean, would I be apprehensive if certain people did a Quasar book? Yes, but... Spend it. How was Quasar 1? Well, he stood in the atmosphere and just talked to someone for like 18 of the 22 pages. What are you doing on Earth? Well, why should I tell you why I'm coming to Earth? Well, I am the protector of the universe, so you should tell me why you're coming to Earth. Why I'm not going to tell you why I'm coming back down to Earth. Talking heads, the same talking heads. We when Lilith and I talked to D.G. Chichester, he's mentioned before, like when he was an editor, like some writer, you could tell some writers they put time into the story, and some, sometimes he would get a plot where it's just like, and they fight for 5 pages.
Yeah.
I think it's like kind of like that with Bendis, except it's like, and they talked for 7 pages. Not moving their heads, just different dialogue coming out of the same heads in the same poses.
You want to finish this?
All right. So yeah, thoughts on this one, Will, or should we finish this up?
I thought this was again, Wendell was in fine form. He doesn't appear again, after this, but the arc finishes in the next issue. So
yeah, here, let me read this. He didn't appear. I'm trying to remember because I read this all once, but I'm like, he didn't appear for like 2 seconds or something.
I don't think so, because it opens with Galen about to eat like a 8-ball or something. It was really kind of cool.
Yeah, because Ben takes him to that pool hall. Yeah. Yes, kids, a pool ball. All right, it's Fantastic Four 523 from April 2005. Rising Storm Part 4, same team. Having reverted Galactus back to his human form of Galen, the Fantastic Four have brought him back to Earth and try to get him back in touch with his long-lost humanity. However, time is fleeting as the power of Galactus is somewhere in the universe trying to find its way back to its master. The thing is taking Galen out to a local bar on Yancey Street. There, he stopped Galen from eating an 8-ball off the pool table and gets him a hot dog. He then introduces him to Maisie, a drunk waitress who immediately begins hitting on Galen. It's about then that Mr. Fantastic catches up with them and demands to know what Ben is doing. The Thing explains that they were going to teach Galen about humanity, and he would give him a crash course by visiting his old neighborhood. Reed pulls Ben and Galen outside, where Reed quietly reminds Ben that the power of Galactus can return at any moment, and they have to be careful to restore the humanity in Galen before that moment. Meanwhile, back at the Baxter building, Quasar is using a device to scan their DNA so they might reverse the power swap that Reed was forced to perform on Johnny and Sue. With the scan complete, Quasar departs and keeps to keep track of the power of Galactus so that he can remove Galen from Earth the moment he is transformed into Galactus again. With Quasar gone, Sue has a hard time keeping her powers in check and admits that she has a newfound respect for Johnny's ability to control his flame that she did not even realize. When asked if he will miss invisibility powers of the power cosmic, Johnny lies and tells his sister that he won't. Later, Johnny and Ben take Franklin and Galen to Central Park where the boy goes skating. When they ask Galen if he is interested in trying it out, Galen turns the idea down flat. Galen then criticizes Franklin for getting emotional over it and is unimpressed with the children. When Johnny calms down Ben and tells Galen that this is the greatest city on Earth, Galen feels nothing but sarcastic pity for them. He then points out that his home world of Ta was a scientific utopia compared to Earth, which he views as a filthy cesspool. Well, it's not wrong there. Ben is about to attack him again when Johnny reminds him how the Silver Surfer had the same mentality when they first met him. They then realize that the person they need to help is Alicia Masters. Alicia takes Galen to the Guggenheim Museum to show him the art collection there. But regardless of what she shows him, Galen scoffs at all the artwork and attributes her awe being a product of her lack of sight. Undaunted, Alicia tries to take Galen across the city to see the beauty of humanity. However, when Alicia takes him, Galen sees the homeless of the city and the broken system of this world. Later, Sue recounts their failed mission back to Reed, who has just finished creating a portal he hoped would lead to a dimension of energy that could feed Galactus permanently. However, Reed discovered that attempting to lure Galactus into it would cause a chain reaction that would destroy the Earth. That's not good. Reed, however, refuses to give up. Galen overhears this and asks why. Reed explains that he strives to constantly improve himself in the world, pointing out all the inventions he has created in his lab. He then goes on to explain that there are hundreds of other specialists around the world striving to do the same thing. Hold on, my screen shifted on me. Yeah. Hearing this is what convinces Galen that humans are no different than he is. Realizing the menace he will become as Galactus again, Galen traps himself in the portal chamber. Explaining what he now understands, Galen opens the portal to exile himself from the universe in the hopes that he can stop Galactus, at least for a short time. Despite the protest of the Fantastic Four, Galen enters the portal and seals it behind himself. With Galen gone, Reed tells the others they have one last loose end to tie up. Johnny and Sue swap powers. He takes them to the lab and explains the device that he has created was originally intended to transfer Ben's powers from one person to another, but Grimm refused to burden anyone with that. When Reed activates the device, and it malfunctions and explodes. Emerging from the wreckage, the Fantastic Four are shocked to discover that they are stripped of their powers. At that moment, in 4 different parts of the city, 4 random individuals are shocked to discover they suddenly have the powers of a member of the Fantastic Four. It's so funny, this arc started on a cliffhanger and ends on a cliffhanger.
Ends on a cliffhanger. And I forgot Quasar appears in there. That's cool.
Yes. Good job, Mr.
Yeah,
Ray.
I thought this ended really well. You know, I don't know about what happens to Galactus after this story.
I have a feeling he shows up again.
Pretty sure he does, but I don't know if it's explained how or why, or if there's any continuity.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, just the way he writes this, it's kind of leave it open ended, where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna try to keep myself as Galactus over here, but eventually, I'm probably gonna pop up again.
Yeah, because I know he pops up like in the Thanos series. That was like a lead into Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
Like was that around 2007? So it wasn't much longer after this, I guess. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a really good little arc. I mean, Wade and Ringo's run on the Fantastic Four is a really, really great little run.
Oh yeah, this is one of the runs. Yeah, people talked about Fantastic Four. I mean, the Stan's run, of course. This run,
Byrne's run.
Byrne. Oh yeah, Byrne, of course. Yeah, Byrne. Heroes Reborn, no.
Well, they do talk about it.
Oh, speaking of Heroes Reborn, that might have to be a Patreon only episode because I did agree. I don't know when or where, but I agreed. I got Lilith to agree to review Heroes Reborn with me, the whole thing, but she has to be dead ass drunk to do it.
Okay. Wow. Oh, I remember those issues.
Oh my god!
No, Fantastic Four has some spectacular Jim Lee art.
Oh yeah, that Iron Man. Yeah, he drew that in Iron Man. Yeah,
and Portacio, I think, did Iron Man. It was just the art was gorgeous on those two things.
Then you get that Rob Liefeld Captain America,
which was that in Avengers or was that Captain America? It was a Captain America. God,
he might have did Avengers too, but I know he did Captain America. I just remember Cap's.
Yeah.
Little feet and huge breasts, yes.
And then, that didn't last very long because it was, about 13 issues, I think, of each.
Yeah. And it's like Liefeld only lasted like half of that because they brought in someone else to do like Cap and Avengers, I think, after he left, like halfway through. I think
Walter Simonson wrote like a crossover at the end of it to, end the universe.
Oh, yeah. Was it? Who? I forget what that crossover was, but yeah, there was it wasn't Wildstorm, was it? It was something.
I can't remember what it was, but then then that led into the Heroes Return.
Yes,
which gave us
Kurt
Busiek, and George Perez Avengers, which is definitely in my happy place.
And I'm glad they let Mark Waid pick right back up on Captain America after that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He and I think Ron Garney was the artist for that.
Oh yeah, it was that 13 issue, the issue 13s of all those. Yeah, it was let me see. I just had it. What was it? World War III. Which it was a crossover between the Heroes Reborn and Wildstorm universes. Which was then at that point with Image Comics.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was basically just an amalgam of both universes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we did crossovers willy-nilly with other companies back in the day, kids?
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
No. Oh, that's like on the next episode of Nightwing News. Kristen and I, she's never read it before. We're going to do the Teen Titans X-Men issue.
Oh, that is an awesome book. I mean, that's Chris Claremont. That's Walter Simonson. I think Terry Austin inks him. It's just a gorgeous book, and that was when Teen Titans were huge.
Oh yeah,
they were like the best-selling title.
That was like the big
X-Men, or X-Men were right behind.
Yeah, that was the big war. Yeah, because X-Men and Teen Titans were both like really popular at that point. Yeah,
and it was that's a really good book. I haven't read that in a long time. I need to go back and read that. That's a really, really good book.
Mm-hmm. Go read it and send in feedback. So I was gonna say you could join us, but it's we're doing it next week. I didn't think you were free next week. So yeah,
yeah, I'm not. Sorry.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, anything else? I'm like, I don't want the Quantum Zone go again. But again, like I said, maybe we could try to do this like 2 to 3 times a year because I do want to get to that Star Masters. I do want to get to those Nova issues with him and Richard Rider.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We'll definitely have to do some more of these.
Yes, because
we're at 154 episodes. 156 is 3 total years of weeks, right? 52, and 52.
Something. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. We're gonna have to drag Matt Kona back in here. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been a little bit since we've seen our pal, right?
I think since last summer when we did the last time we did one of these, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then it had been a while before that because he had to kind of bow out of Sector 2814 just because, newborn.
Yes.
I get it.
Life. Yes.
Life happens.
Come back, Maddie. We'll give you your own intro from Boston.
Boston Pizza.
Oh, yes.
That was for you, Ray. Boston Pizza.
I thought they were Boston Pizza owners.
And what do you like on your Boston Pizza, Ray?
Sausage.
Nice.
And it's all kangaroo down there.
Gobble gobble.
Feels like the old days.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, that's where we got this famous drop. Remember when we were doing those Guardians of the Galaxy and he found out, Starhawk was Quasar's son, and he in his feedback it was, "What the F?"
Yeah. Yep. And I've always wanted to kind of see that interaction because it was an alternate Quasar from Guardians of the Galaxy's timeline. But, Starhawk's been over here quite a bit. So, oh, hey, you're an alternate version of, my dad.
And again, is Quasar going to show up in the Marvel Universe? We got plenty of opportunities this year. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because that a-hole Adam Warlock's going to show up. So,
yeah,
that really burns me. Adam Warlock's going to show up before Quasar.
Yeah.
And then the Marvels is coming out at the end of the year, so it's like there's at least 2 opportunities there. We could get Quasar in there somewhere.
Well, and I have to say I was a little disappointed. And I just read that Captain Marvel writer now, Kelly
Thompson, yeah.
Kelly Thompson. Captain Marvel is ending with 50.
Yes.
And she had a Last of the Marvels crossover that had all the different Marvels people, and Wendell didn't show. He was a Marvel boy and a Marvel man. So.
Yeah.
And I get it, but
that's what I said. I'm going to be talking to her soon, but she did the Lord's work. She got a Carol Danvers book to 50, and again, nothing against Carol Danvers, but it's like, who gets over 50 issues in a consecutive run? Who's not Spider-Man, or the Avengers book just did that and is about the reboot?
A single writer.
Yes,
that's unheard of these days.
Yeah.
Usually
they
so
reboot
impressive.
when they get a new writer, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, get to 50. So it's like Captain America hasn't done that. Iron Man hasn't done that in a while. Thor hasn't done that in a while. I'm like,
yeah. So mad props to her. She's an amazing writer, and
yes,
definitely did a wonderful job.
Amen. All right. So, anything else, William? Again, join us on Sector 2814 every week.
Exactly, where we're talking this character right here.
Oh,
Lantern.
Nice. All right.
We do our. I have a lot of fun with Sector 2814. Quasar and Hal Jordan are my 2 favorite characters, so this is a heck of a lot of fun to be able to chat about them regularly for Hal and semi-regularly for the Quantum Zone. Although we talked a lot about Wendell for a very long time in the Quantum Zone.
Exactly. All right. So, yes, this is going to go up on Patreon first, but eventually this is going to hit the regular podcast. So, yeah, let's do the plugs. All right, kids. So, yes, if you want more Quasar, write in and demand Lilith Hellfire. Let's us do that. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, find all your Capes and Lunatics needs on our website, tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. It is in the show notes. All right. And now, Master of the Core, Master of the Quantum Zone, Master of Kickstarter, William, where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me at Walred. That's at WALLRED. That's at Gmail and at Twitter and Facebook and probably several other things that I've forgotten I set up. But if you want to find the comics that I write, you can check out Crossover Division at crossoverdivision.com. Issue 4 has just been completely fulfilled, and we're getting ready to launch a hardcover of the first 4 issues on Kickstarter coming up on April 18th. So if you want to find out more about that, go to crossoverdivision.com/Kickstarter or /KS. Either one will get you there, and that'll forward you on to the pre-launch page that we have out there. If you want to check out Diary of Night, you can go to diaryofnight.com, and that's a little bit different style of story with vampires as opposed to science fiction and literature like Crossover Division. And Phil is not the only awesome podcaster host that I annoy on a weekly basis. Kevin Joseph, writer of Tart, and I hang out on Friday nights and talk to comic book Kickstarter creators about their ongoing projects that they have running on the platform. So you can check out that Friday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, and it's called Explain Yourself. So yeah, get more eyes on Kickstarter comics and indie comics. And finally, obviously, because you're here and this is a Quasar podcast, you love Quasar, and hey, who doesn't, honestly? If you want to find out more about Quasar, you can always go to the Quantum Zone at quantumzone.org. I'll put it in my navel.
Hey, boys, you look at the party? I love the party.
He goes limp in my grip.
All these drops courtesy of previous Quantum Zone episodes. So
I hope it's
That was
going
a Star
somewhere
Blast.
nice.
yes,
They aren't even attempting to enter our orifices.
that's the only thing Star
Another
Blast
Star
was good
Blast.
for. That's the only thing Star Blast was good for. A lot of drops.
I am
A lot of-
God.
Crazy drops.
Seems like I'm getting a package every other day.
All right. Again, I don't want to let it go, but yes. All right, kids.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
Yes, like I said, I want to get to Star Masters. I want to get to Nova. Oh, you know what? Maybe we should do that first arc of Avengers Heroes Reborn because Quasar is in it. So
That'd be a good thing to read again. Yeah.
that Busiek George Perez, yeah.
We got more screen time in Avengers versus JLA.
Exactly.
But that was still awesome.
So yeah, kids, write in. Tell us what storylines you want covered. Oh, I was showing off the 3D Kyle Rayner mask you 3D printed for me. I was like, look, Will made this. Will made this.
My son made it. But I asked him to, so there you go.
I told him to.
Yeah.
You supervised that real good, Will.
I'm good at supervision.
All right.
Or is that being supervised? I don't know what.
All right, kids. Again, join us on Sector 2814 and keep an eye out for more Quantum Zone. And remember, don't judge a man by his big appetite. Good night.